So Bitcoin at the moment this year gained 53%, and that's pretty nice, but it's the halving year. Shouldn't we expect a little more than that? Well, that's what we're going to take a look at in today's video. So if you're excited for what might come this year in crypto, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell notification. And I also, guys, decided like I'm not gonna drop daily content anymore. I always said like, hey, I'll be here every day. But sometimes there's not much happening in the market. And I don't want to push out content just because I promise to push out content. Otherwise, it's getting a little quantity over quality. So whenever I feel the need to talk about the market, then we do that. And otherwise, I'm going to be silent from this day on. So, but this is pretty interesting though. Again, it's the halving year. Bitcoin just had the halving. And overall, what I checked out is in the previous halving years, how did Bitcoin respond? And what I haven't checked out yet, but what we're going to check out in this video is how did altcoins respond? So again, that's not a prediction like, hey, that's what we're going to do this year. But if we take an average of 1, 2, 3 years, then we get a pretty good idea of what might happen this year. Okay, so if we go back all the way to 2012, Bitcoin opened the year at, believe it or not, $4.70. Okay, and it closed that year at $13.48. So that was a pretty decent gain of 180% over the complete year. Right now, if we do take a look at other years, I'm not going to call the complete numbers, but in the halving year of 2016, Bitcoin gained 165%. The last halving year was a pretty good one. There, Bitcoin gained 304%. So if we do take the average of those years, and I can pretend that I'm very smart, but I can also use Google, that's an average of 216%. Okay, that's the average move that Bitcoin makes from the opening to the close in a halving year. And we can have wicks above, below, but 216%. Now, if we do take a look, we opened the year at $42,200. If we take a look at the current price, we are sitting at a gain of 53%. Right, that's of course way below average still. But then again, it's April. The years just start like we just finished quarter one. We have 3 quarters to go. So how far can we actually go? Well, if we do take a look at, let's say, the worst year so far, which is 165%. And again, this is not diminishing, okay? With 180, 165, 300. That's not diminishing. That's all over the place, okay? So if we do take a look at the worst year, which is 165%, if we just repeat that, then Bitcoin can end this year at $112,000. That's fine. If we do take a look at the average, which was 216%, so that's most likely, right? That's average, 216%. Then that would put Bitcoin at the end of the year of around $133,000. I don't know. It sounds like a lot, like $133,000. Whoa! It's 2x from here. It's literally just a 2x from here. Okay, that's nothing too crazy if you consider that Bitcoin already made a 4x in the last 1.5 years, basically. Okay, so it went on. So what's another 2x in a bull market, in a halving year, in an election year with ETFs? Seems very likely to me. So that's what Bitcoin might do. $133,000, give or take. Again, that's not a prediction. That's the average of what happened so far. We can go above average. We can go below it. Therefore, it's called an average, of course. Now, let's take a look what altcoins did. And with altcoins, it's a little harder because we have one less data point, right? We don't have 2012 right there. But we do have 2016 and 2020, so we can get a general idea of what it did. So if we do take a look at the altcoin market, then the altcoin market in 2016, it had a move of December, which is here, 460%. Okay. Okay, kids, it's not bad. Okay. And in 2020, we started the year right here and we closed it right there, which was 323. So 323. Wait. 323. And what was the other one? 459. 459. For the people that have very good brain cells, they'd be like, I already know the answer. I don't. I'm stupid. 391. That's the average so far for the altcoin market. 391%. So where did we start? Well, in January, of course. 391% for the altcoin market. That should, well, put it around $935 billion. For the record, we are currently sitting at 284. Okay, so the altcoin market could go way higher. Now, it feels like, wow, altcoin is so much better than Bitcoin. That's not necessarily true. I mean, Bitcoin is, of course, at the moment at around the all-time highs, right? So like if you take it from the all-time high and you put it to the price target, that's a gain for Bitcoin of 90%, right? If we do take a look at the altcoin market and we take it from the top until the price target, that's a gain of 90%. Happens to be freaking 90%, right? 88%. So that's kind of the same. So if this happens, then it's not necessarily that Bitcoin has outperformed altcoins or that altcoins have outperformed Bitcoin, but that they're even again. Why is that? It's because Bitcoin has outperformed altcoins so far, and this would be the altcoin catch-up. Would make some sense, as I expect, like I said in the Altseason video from a couple of days ago, that Altseason should be around the year. That's where the Bitcoin dominance should turn around based on multiple metrics, and altcoins should finally play catch up. This would be the point where Bitcoin and altcoins finally play even. Okay. However, we can take it a step further. Okay. And again, this is not like price predictions. It might be way off, right? It might be way off. But that's like how averages work, right? But we can take it a step further. We can also, of course, take a look at, hey, that's for this year. What might happen next year, right? And it's way too far from now. So it probably doesn't even make sense in that case, because we do not even know where it's going to open next year. But let's say that this level is accurate, then we can take it from here, of course, right? So let's do that with Bitcoin first once again, right? So if we go to not 2012, but 2013, which was a pretty crazy year for Bitcoin. So I wonder and how far we should take this into the average, because this wasn't even the 4-year cycle really yet, right? Bitcoin just started. It had to find its way. Super low market cap. We're talking about $8 Bitcoin, right? Super volatile. So it took just a couple of dollars to pump Bitcoin very hard. Now it takes a complete ETF, 9 at least, to pump it. But hey, let's at least see what the outcome is. So from January, let's delete these other ones first. So we have a little more clear data. All right, so if we take it from January 2013, so the post-halving year, right? And the post-halving year so far is always most bullish, if you ask me. From January, that's fucking February for motion. Come on, man, do your shit better than that. Okay, here it is. January until December, yeah, you see that's an 8,700% gain. That's where Bitcoin finally, went to the mainstream, basically. But hey, it's what it is. I mean, that's the data. So let's not completely ignore the data just because it was very high back then. Yeah, it was what it is. January 2017, we started around this level, and December 2017 was here. So we closed it here, 1,300%. Okay, if we take this for the 2021 cycle, which was significantly I'm Dutch. Less. But still, then we can find it right here, which was 300%, right? Way less, way less. So, okay, fair enough. We can calculate this, but especially because of this cycle right here, this is going to give us an outcome that says, oh, 40x, right? I don't know how relevant that is actually, right? Because this is actually diminishing as well. So how should you look at this, right? So I'm not even going to give an answer to this actually, because I have no fucking clue. Should we, in this case, you know, account for diminishing returns? Or should we take an average, right? If we take an average, then the outcome is way higher, of course. And if you take diminishing returns, it might not even be realistic because the halving years weren't diminishing as well. So it could have just been a coincidence that this one was lower than this one. I don't know. Overall, closing the year at 130K seems pretty likely. That's also in line with other price targets that I had in the first place. If you do take a look at logarithmic regression band, right, this is also quite interesting. We always go to the upper band. Always, no exception. Well, touched it almost, right? This bull market, this bull market, this bull market, and this bull market. So there's not a real good reason for me to believe like, well, this time we're not going to do that. We now have ETFs, so we're not going to do like what? Of course, there's a very good chance that we do that, right? If we get there today, then that would mean around $170,000 Bitcoin. Okay, that's quite high for today, right? But when do we usually get there? At the top of the bull market, right? Here, it was at the top. Here, we went there November 2013. Here, we went there December 2017. Here, we went there in, well, okay, fair enough, March 2021. Right, so I don't expect us to hit this any sooner than 2025. And in my opinion, there is a chance that we get a left translated cycle, but overall, not much. If we top out sooner, then it will probably be March, April 2025, but that's a big if, right? Because so far, the 4-year cycle is intact, and I don't want to believe that this time is going to be different because we had a new high before the halving, right? That says nothing about when it's going to stop. And I said this once before, but why did Bitcoin went into a bear market in 2021? Because Bitcoin was all of a sudden like bad news? I don't know, man. If you look at the S&P 500, right, also went in a bear market in that area, right? Bitcoin followed the S&P, not the other way around, right? So just because we have a sooner high for Bitcoin doesn't necessarily mean that the S&P now feels like, oh, in that case, I'm going to top out sooner. Like, what? What do you care about Bitcoin? You don't care about that, right? But I'm getting a little off record right here. Again, is it possible for Bitcoin to have a, what was it, 2x gain from this point in a year, right? In the rest of this year? Fuck yeah. Like, if you feel like, yeah, that won't happen, I don't know. Don't ignore the fact that Bitcoin so far in halving years, in election years, always has been very bullish, right? And so far, right? So far in this year, what have we seen? January until here, 75%, right? 75% so far. Yeah, that would be the worst election year by far, by very far, right? So there's no real reason to believe that that can't happen. Okay, the altcoin market again could gain way more. And that should mean that, hey, if Bitcoin goes up, but the altcoin market goes up more, that the dominance should go down, right? Does the dominance, Bitcoin dominance, look topped out? Well, it definitely doesn't look like it will keep on going up, especially not for the rest of the year, right? we are hitting, like if you look at it at the last cycle where we went all the way down, right? We hit the 618 and we got rejected, right? If we do take a look at the dominance right now from the top till the bottom, the 618 is coming in not very much further from where we are right now, right? It has some room to grow, but it's not like significant, right? Significant. I said it, man. Like the video for the significance. Hey, nice. That's a possibility, right? That it also again gets rejected from the 618. Also, we have this diagonal trend line, which has been, it goes back to like the existence of the Bitcoin dominance, basically. And it doesn't mean it has to get rejected, right? Of course, it could get rejected, but it also could break. Therefore, you want to combine a couple of indicators. So that one. Plus, if we do take a look at some horizontal resistance, yeah, the big resistance comes in over here, right? Where we have major resistance at this point, major resistance at this point right here. That comes in, well, it happens to be where we got rejected basically in this last week. Also in this, upsloping trend. And it comes pretty close to this one as well. So that's for the Bitcoin dominance. So it makes sense, right? It's like you have to have a idea like, okay, Bitcoin can go up, altcoins can go up more. It means the dominance should go down. Is it likely? If we look at the chart, I already see 3 different things that suggest that could happen, right? When could this happen, right? Well, I mean, the dominance could do this, right? And face a little resistance and then come down. Right, and if you look at when this is like August 2024, give or take, right? And it can also do this and then go down, but I don't see it like going much further than August, September, to be honest. And it could be a little sideways like this as well, and at the end of the year, completely go down, and then give Bitcoin an extremely, extremely green month, extremely green month. So far, we haven't really February was a crazy month for Bitcoin. That went up 43% in one single month, right? 43%. But, overall, other than that, we had months like 28, 12, nothing almost. Last month was 16. So these were smaller months and they were compounding, right? That took time. Yeah, we do not have like all the time, of course, right now. It's April, it's almost May, right? We have 7 months left. So we need some good, strong candles for Bitcoin on the monthly. Well, does that happen in halving years? Well, I mean, in the halving year, November 2000, like here we have months of like 40% as well, right? And here we had a month 22%, okay? In this halving year, we had a month of, 20%, 2016, right? Here we had one of 25%. Here the last one was 30%. So we got multiple pretty good months right there. And in this halving year in 2020, we had a month of 34%. We had a month right here, 30%. We had a month 47%, 42%. Crazy, right? So if it goes like that, Bitcoin can basically, right, goes sideways for such a fucking long time right now. If it wants to, just go sideways, la 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 la. In November, 45%, December 45%, and we are there. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. And then we will see that altcoins will blow up way, way, way harder. I mean, in 2020, altcoins had way bigger months right there, right? It had way bigger months. If you look at this right here, it had months of, bad example, 34%. If we go back to this one, in the halving year 2016, it had one single month of 137%, right? Altcoins were heavily outperforming Bitcoin. Now, that's for the, mid-long term, end of the year, basically, that I think that the crypto market is going to, bless us like with crazy gains. In the meantime, however, that In the meantime, I expect a lot of boring shit, actually. Because just by looking at the chart without reading numbers, right? If you just look at the chart without reading shit, look at this. What the fuck do you think is going to happen, right? Do you really just expect this to go like this? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? If you look at last markets as well, in 2020, for example, how many red months did we get? We had 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 3. That's a fucking bad example because now we just had 2, so we can only need 1, by the way. But overall, my message is, it is too parabolic for me. It's way too parabolic, if you ask me, right? And what goes up that hard must come down that hard as well. Now, we had a pretty like nasty month on the altcoin market, minus 18%. But I mean, in this last market where we also just had a couple of red months, you know, this one was 23 already, right? We didn't do that even. So I can imagine that Bitcoin and altcoins overall go, well, not back, but go a little sideways, maybe up, down, but overall sideways. And at the end of the year, really boom, like hard, really, really hard, right? But Bitcoin as well. I mean, we had some red months, but in the last 15 months, we had, right, this is not even close yet, we had 3 red months out of the 15. Act normal, man. Right? Like, give us red, red, and green. Or maybe a little green, red. But, you know, reset the market a little bit. We need a decent reset, right? This is not healthy. I love it. I'm making money. But I also want to keep on making money, right? And too much green, I don't know. I always get a little paranoid. I get a little scared. I feel like something's off right here, right? So yeah, be a little careful with that though. And I mean, even if you look at the last halving year, right, from where we started in January, we basically, right, we went to the upside and we went to the downside. But overall, we went sideways from January until July. So we did nothing with a lot of shit in between, including the COVID crash. But overall, within a span of 6 months, we ended at the same point as where we started, right? 7 months even. So we went sideways for 7 months. But if we take this to January, that would basically mean that in, 3 months from now, in July, we could be sitting at 40K. Right? Now, I'm not saying like, we can go, we will go down to 40K, but if we just do what we did last, like, that's what we did last time. That's what we did last time. And in hindsight, we will look back at it and say like, well, we went up very hard, we went down very hard, and we overall ended up sideways, right? That's how we did it last cycle. And it's definitely possible that we do that right now as well. So that's kind of my longer term perspective on Bitcoin and altcoins right now. I hope that it plays out as well. And why is that? Well, we end up very high, right? And especially on the altcoin market, we end up making a lot of gains. But if we do take a look at the altcoin market right now, if we end up right here, then where have you read about? Here or here, for example, right? So if the market just keeps on going up from now, you will never again, right, have that entry like we did over here. You will never have that beautiful golden opportunity. And if we go a little sideways, maybe a little lower, but at least sideways, then we have a lot more time to DCA before that big move is going to happen. Right? If we take it a little further back and we put it on the weekly and we put on the bull market support band, which we talked about before, I said in this recent dip, like, yo, this is the buying opportunity, right? We're sitting at the bull market support band. Yeah, history shows that the bull market support band in a bull market is the best place ever to buy. right? And a lot of people, they get scared in these dips and they sell. But look where we are right now. From the bull market support band, we are already up 15%. And that's the overall altcoin market, you know, excluding the top 10, but the top 125. But that doesn't even say something about the, you know, the low cap stuff, right? These are up way more. So this was the beautiful buying opportunity. Now, it's a forecast, right? It's going to play out like this. So what I rather see for the altcoin market is maybe go a little sideways, maybe down again, right back to this level, and just hold that bull market support band. You can wick below it, of course, but overall hold that bull market support band. Give us time to dollar cost right here, because in my expectation, at the end of the year, you should stop buying. The prices will be way too high. You should think about selling, right? And I know I said like, hey, I expect the bull market to go on until the end of 2025 so far. At least that's not my prediction. That's what I think is most likely, right? But it doesn't mean you should still be buying mid 2025 already. I mean, you dollar cost into the market, right? You buy, you know, this whole area. Even here you can buy, right? And at a certain point, it gets at a certain point, it gets to a certain point, basically, where you should think about selling. And even if it goes higher, you sell more. It goes higher, sell more, and eventually it will go down. And you had a beautiful exit, right? If you just wait until that perfect point, then we are gonna now we're gonna talk about crypto starting tutorials or whatever. But you don't go all in at a certain point, and you don't try to fully exit at the top as well. Don't try the time the market won't work, right? So by that time, you should think about selling, right? If this is the move that the altcoin market makes for this year, right, that would be 90% from top to top. Right, that kind of lines up with diminishing returns. I mean, I don't know exactly what the top was over here, but let's say it's this, right? Here we had like 50,000%, whatever, right? That wasn't even really an altcoin market yet. If we take a look at the last cycle from top to top, it had 530%. My expectation is anywhere between 1 and 300, right? That's a big range, I know, but come on. The more specific someone is going to be, the more wrong they are going to be as well. But 530%, that's a lot. I don't see that happen. I can see like maybe 300% happen. And yeah, this target right here, that would be 92%, would be really low though, would be really low. I expect a little more. But hey, same case, it doesn't happen, right? So why not already sell a little bit when this target is hit, right? If that happens, you have to realize from this point, well, that's a 230% gain. That's a 3.5x on the altcoin market in general. That should definitely mean anywhere between a 5 and a 10x on your altcoin portfolio if you hold right altcoins. That's decent, man. Especially if you look where we are right now compared to where we came from. We came from so far. If you can make another 5 till 10x, you're doing fantastic, right? You already made that 5, 10x, right? So that would mean anywhere between a 25 and 100x that you pulled off in this complete bull market. That's crazy, right? Don't say like, oh, okay, make it 100 to 200x. Like, be realistic. Be realistic. If you pull this off, then you should say to yourself, nice, bull market, played it out, take my money, wait, do nothing in the complete bear market and go in and play this game again and you will be rich as fuck, right? Don't aim too high. Don't aim too high. So apart from all my Picasso drawings right here, I do think that this year is going to be very bullish. You know, at least going to end up very bullish. If this year, the process of this year is going to be very bullish, I don't know about that necessarily. Like I said, I think it could be pretty boring, have a slow grind up, and maybe we get some bad shit, and the altcoin market feels like, hey, you know, this range right here, we never retested that. Black Swan, retest. That would be destructive for altcoins. On the other hand, if you do have cash, you're going to be rich as fuck, right? Because from this point all the way up to there, That's a 7x, right? Like that's way more than that 2.5x that we're now looking at. Right, so if you make a 7x on the altcoin market in general, your portfolio 15x, whatever, if you can pull that off, it's gonna be absolutely crazy, man. It's gonna be absolutely crazy. One other thing, since I want to make less videos, I want to go over a couple of extra things. I think that short term, we might see a good correct. Okay, look, what I think could happen is the S&P, right? Bitcoin follows the S&P. Okay, very simple. Usually they're correlated. Over the shorter term, they maybe not overall. Yeah. The S&P went up pretty high, right? It now has a decent correction. Now I want to see if this bull market support band is going to hold, right? So far it is holding. That's not a guarantee that it will keep on holding that. Okay. If nothing crazy happens now, if we don't get crazy bad news, then it will hold. But this could be the point where there is bad news. And that would be the reason for it to break. If it does, right, then I can definitely see the S&P retesting this high right here. And that would mean a drawdown of around 3%. And that doesn't sound like a lot. We just had, let's say 6%, right? So that would be half of the impact. Okay. If we do take a look at how much Bitcoin corrected overall, right, from the top to the bottom, just like the S&P, it's 90%, 19%. So that's 9.5% from this point that Bitcoin could basically drop. That could take Bitcoin back to 60K. Now that's interesting because 60K for Bitcoin is the lower side of this range. So that would be the narrative, the reason for Bitcoin to go back to the lower side of the range, right? I hope it holds. That would be fantastic. Now, Bitcoin has the room to go down because Bitcoin, its bull market support band is coming in at around $56,000, right? And in a couple of weeks from now, that comes in at that lower side of the range, right? So that could be the reason for Bitcoin to slowly grind down first, hold, test, bam, go up. Altcoins, they don't have like that much room to go down, right? Well, 7%, right? They just had a decent pump, but they don't have that much room to go down. So that could mean that if this happens, that could be the last push for the Bitcoin dominance to go up and then completely go down and crash, right? For now, it is very bullish. It looks fantastic. If you're a Bitcoin dominance bull, congratulations. I don't know why you would want to be that though, because you still, I said this before, you can better take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, excluding stables and some high caps that you're maybe not investing in the first place. And if we do take a look at that, I only see lower highs for the last year, right? So the Bitcoin dominance without these boring coins is already cooling down. So the, others, like not the total three, not the XRPs, etc., but the others is already slowly been outperforming Bitcoin right here. And that could be the final push that brings this thing all the way down, break that bull market support band, and takes us into an alt season. And so there are a lot of different charts that I try to, glue together to see what the possibilities might be. On this channel, I'm not gonna sit here say like, guys, alt season, then prepare, buy now, it's guaranteed to happen, or whatever, like sell it. I just want to speculate, right, based on the charts that we have, and I think that this is a very good possibility. So some of my base cases to line it up, and come at me later like, you were wrong. Fuck that, everybody is wrong. Yeah, you cannot be weak in crypto and not be wrong, right? But my base cases are this: Bitcoin this summer, not that bullish, right? Could of course go make a new high somewhere or whatever, but overall not that bullish, maybe sideways, a little down. At the end of the year, fucking big ass new highs. Alt season, end of the year, Bitcoin 130K in 2024. Altcoins new highs in 2024. And 2025, we have to see by then, right? But I think that a lot of people are going to get wrecked because they try to outsmart the market and feel like, you know what? This cycle is going to be shorter. So I'm going to like, and then the market is just doing what it always does so far. Because what is crypto best at? At wrecking people that say that this time is different, right? So far, everybody that said that has gotten wrecked, right? So that might also be just exactly what's good. First, convince everybody like, it could be a shorter cycle, and then just, do what it always does. It did it last cycle perfectly as well, right? Perfectly. People always said like, oh, this time is going to be different, right? We had a big ass crash right here. Like, hey, bull market is back. Yeah, it's different right now. And then go all the way down. Fuck, it's, that. It's different in that way, right? And then it's back on and everybody 100K Bitcoin and then going down and feel, that bull market is over. And then when everybody says this time is different, Bitcoin was like, different? What do you mean? No, top end of 2021. Fuck you, buy, and then go in the bear market. Crazy. The market is so good at wrecking people that don't stick to a plan, right? Therefore, my plan is simply bull market at the end of 2025 until I see clear signs that this time is actually different. Do I, however, hold all my bags until the end of 2025? Hell no, I could be wrong. I don't want to bet all my money on that, right? But I'm definitely not selling all my bags way before that. Because you can definitely miss out, man. What if you thought that the bull market at the end of 2024 or 2020 was already going to end, right? Then you sold right here at 23K. 23K, right? You missed out on the biggest move in Bitcoin, let alone altcoins, because at the end of 2020, the altcoin market, what was it doing? It was barely making new highs, right? It was not even making new highs yet, right? So the people that here said like, yeah, it's gonna be different, they missed out on a 12x, right? Which is like more than a 20x on your actual crypto portfolio. So I don't know. I don't want to be that person that feels like, yeah, selling it all and then sees this and be like, okay, fuck, I was wrong. Let's buy it. And then gets completely wrecked, right? Sorry, it's a long video, but again, I want to, make the videos maybe a little bigger and less videos so I can actually give you the valuable information that I see in the market right now. We're of course also going to talk about the coins that I think are worth buying. But some coins that I have bought already. AVAX, the AVAX narrative is super strong. A lot of good games coming to AVAX. So I think that this is definitely going to freaking explode as soon as it hits, and breaks around $70, right? That's that huge resistance. This drawn completely terrible, by the way. But I think that this is a sleeping giant, AVAX. I think Uniswap could be a good one as well. I never talked a lot about Uniswap, but it's the multi-chain DEX. And people just getting sick and tired of all these exchanges, scamming or have to leave certain countries and you have to put your money somewhere else again. And like self-custody, it's what crypto is meant for. Like crypto is DeFi. Exchanges, the fact that exchanges exist already go against the principle of crypto in the first place. Therefore, I think that, DEXs are like, do it, low risk, decent reward kind of way to go. Beam, same case. Beam is showing absolute strength, man. In this last dip, it went really low. And if you took this opportunity, then you have done completely well. I think that, well, Trader Joe goes the same as Uniswap. I think CDFI is going to shock people very hard as well. You know, for now it is ranging here between 280 and $4.5, give or take. And you know, this could take a long while. It's now under the bull market support band, so it could also definitely show some weakness right here. As long as it holds around 250, it's okay. Otherwise, it can go way lower. But overall, at the end of the day, CDFI is here way better than here. So why in the fuck was it $18 here, right, and $3 here? Does it mean it was overvalued here or undervalued here? Let's take a midway, right? CDFI can go way higher. I think Illuvium has a great run. Solana has shown strength like crazy, man. If you bought this Solana dip, congratulations. I mean, this is one of the fewer coins that actually held the bull market support band during the last dip. Same goes for IMX, one coin that I think is crazy. It is under the bull market support band, but you know, if you look at how it's been moving, right, it was in this range, broke out, made a new range basically. Well, here, made a new range, and it's just like holding it very well. I'll make a drawing later, but IMX is completely crazy, and a lot of games coming to IMX. There's so much utility for IMX that it has to be a good one. And if you take a look at all these, you know, these coins on their Bitcoin pair, then you know the tables are turning, because then it was a good idea to not be in, well, most of these altcoins. For example, right, we've been talking about altcoins for a while now, a long time. I was saying like, yeah, I'd rather DCA Bitcoin and then later convert them into altcoins. I did that with most of my Bitcoin. But if you look where they are right now, right, like IMX, look at this chart. Pretty bullish, right? If you look at IMX on its Bitcoin pair, it's more at the lower side of the range, right? It's more at the lower side of the range. So IMX hasn't really been outperforming Bitcoin right here. I mean, it has been underperforming against Bitcoin. It has been outperforming Bitcoin. Now it's been underperforming against Bitcoin. You take a lot of risk by being in an altcoin that doesn't really know what it's going to do, while, you know, Bitcoin gives you the same returns, right? 2 years ago, IMX was sitting at the same level, right? So if you bought Bitcoin 2 years ago, you would have gains, same as IMX, but you took a lot less risk. But I do it as well, because also altcoins are more exciting. It gives you the exposure like, okay, this could actually 10, 20x. With Bitcoin, you know, like it's more of a slow process, right? Bitcoin could 10, 20x, of course, but it takes a long time. And from this point, yeah, then we have to wait maybe 2-3 cycles, right? So I get it with altcoins, but the downside is that a lot of altcoins, they wreck people. Like if you look at Veracity, for example, a lot of people talk about Veracity like, oh, buy VRA, buy VRA. You know when you should have bought VRA? 3 years ago. And you should have sold it 2 years ago. And since then you should have never touched it, right? VRA is wrecking you. Same goes for Ultra, for example. When was the best time to buy Ultra? Well, I don't know from the top of my head if they had a pre-sale. I think it is. I think they had. In that case, the pre-sale. Any other than that, no, never buy Ultra, right? Like, yeah, if you bought it here and sold it here, but for the long term, I mean, Ultra made a all-time low last week against Bitcoin. So, you know, you could be in Ultra, for example, and if we do take a look at the Ultra chart on its dollar pair, you know, it's definitely not spectacular, but it's not like making complete new lows or anything, right? At best, it's doing nothing, right? You like meh. But if you look at it on its Bitcoin pair, you lost, and you lost pretty hard. If you had one Bitcoin right here and you put it into Ultra, you will now have half a Bitcoin. Yeah, and that's too bad, because Bitcoin is just worth a lot of money and you can sell it for that money. So you lost your money actually, right? If you bought Ultra. I know you don't sell if you don't lose, but come on. This is a waste of your money, right? And that goes for, unfortunately, a lot of altcoins. Even Falcon Forged, a coin that I quite like, right? say whatever you want. I've drawn these lines like, hey, you could look at it like it's in this horizontal range, right? Bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, and it's ranging, or it's in this downwards trend right here. Either cases, it broke below, right? So when was the best time to buy Volker Forged? Never. But I get it. I have it in my portfolio as well, and it was a stupid mistake, right? And this is something that I'm definitely going to apply in the next cycle. Right? I was very cautious in this bear market when it came to altcoins. Well, in the bear market, not really, like more in the the post halving or the pre halving year, when altcoins slowly started to go up again. I was still pretty cautious, like, hey guys, I rather buy Bitcoin, and that was a fantastic move. But I mean, if you kept on doing that for a little bit longer, it wasn't that bad idea, right? It wasn't that bad. I mean, if you bought like Volker Forge right here with your Bitcoin, you are now down 80%. And you bought it in April 2022, right? Okay, that's also a bear market year. But let's say you bought October 2022, right? Or November, where everything kind of really bottomed out. You still be down 63%. Right? So you were way better off buying Bitcoin instead of altcoins. So, there's only, like, it's funny, there's only 1 year. My green screen is fucking ugly, man. What the hell happened? There's only 1 year, actually, that you should be in altcoins in a 4-year cycle. 1 year. Right? And you can look at it like this as well. And I hope you have the time for this video, but I think this is really important info. If you look at others on their Bitcoin pair, for example, right? So these are all these altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. Just look back, right? When should you been in the altcoin market? Well, in this parabolic run right here, right? Right, this run right here from, let's say, beginning 2017 till the beginning of 2018. That's the altcoin run, right? But since then, beginning 2018 until beginning 2019, you should have stayed away very much, right? But beginning 2019 till beginning 2020, you should have also stayed away from it, right? Still going down. Then beginning 2022 until beginning 2021, which was here, should have also stayed away from it, right? That was the halving year. That's kind of where we are right now. And only so far the post-halving year, so in this case 2025, is where altcoins started to outperform Bitcoin, right? If you overlay Bitcoin on this chart, right? Again, you see that altcoins on their Bitcoin pair is nothing but down since January 2018 until January 2021, right? They went only down. However, if you do take a look at Bitcoin, was down from here to here, and from that point it was only up. So from this point basically from this point till this point, it was great to hold Bitcoin. From beginning 2019 till beginning 2021. So the rules so far in crypto, what works best and how to not wreck yourself is 1 year, be out of the market, right? Just be out of the market. No, like if you still want to have exposure to Bitcoin, fine, but still lose money with that. So 1 year, be completely out of the market. Well, we had that year, right? We had it right here. Then 2 years, right? Be in Bitcoin, right? We are now in that second year, basically. And then 1 year be in altcoins. So if, and I don't know if it's going to, repeat like that forever, but so far it does. So in that case, the best strategy would be, right, if we now take a look at the current cycle, this is where we are. 1 year, be out of the market. Then from beginning 2023 until the beginning of 2025, give or take, right, be in Bitcoin and then go in altcoins. Now, it's now, April 2024, right? Am I implying like, hey, sell all your altcoins for Bitcoin right now? I wouldn't do that, right? Why? A lot of altcoins, they are already at lows on their Bitcoin pair. Don't sell below. Right now, it's already too late. So the altcoins that you do have, fuck it, hold on to them, right? You might get a 60% dip on them again. It could happen, but to sell them right now doesn't really make sense to me. And then, like I said, at the end of the year, when I expect an alt season, is the time to be in altcoins. And that should also be the time that nobody cares or trusts these altcoins anymore. And you might be like, man, you know what? I capitulated. I got rid of these altcoins. Everybody was right. It wasn't working out. Let's just stick with Bitcoin. And then you will see that altcoins start to outperform Bitcoin. Gives us a crazy season right there. And then tops out. And then go into the bear market again. That's a possibility. So these are so many thoughts in a way too long video. You know, sorry for that, but a lot of different information. I hope it's very useful. We'll be back soon. Please, if you like the video, make sure to put some timestamps on it. And leave your thoughts on this. Like, what do you think? What are your long-term expectations? Do you agree with this? Like, do you think this is a possibility? Do you think this is completely not gonna happen this time? Like I said, 130k Bitcoin this year. I see it happen, man. Yeah, if it's 110, you could be like, oh, you were so wrong, or 150. But you know, give or take, that level could definitely be a possibility. And if not, then not. We'll see it by next year. For now, thanks for watching. I'm tired. Fuck off. Have a very nice day, guys. Bye bye.